Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome in to a Thursday edition of the JP Peterson Show. As always, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. I'm your host today, Nick Geddes, as always, and I'm joined today by a special someone. That's Jason Powers here, filling in for JP, who is still on the slopes, and we're hoping he doesn't get any more injuries. He got a little nicked up the other day, he said, I always worry about it because I got to mess with him about his age, and he's getting older, and he's a little fragile now. I mean, he tells me he can't even bend down to read putts, and he thinks it's safe to go on a skiing trip, apparently.
Yeah, me and JP are actually pretty close in age. I know you're the youngster here amongst the three of us. So, and actually, I've actually been skiing in Breckenridge. I was watching yesterday, and JP was reporting live, so I know exactly where he's in. I tell you, JP, straight, not a lot of turns, man. Go straight, stay on those blues. Don't be going too fast because we don't want to see you in a courtroom like Gwyneth Paltrow just got out of the courtroom.
Exactly.
So enjoy it because your knees and your back, man. That's when we get older, man. The knees and the back.
He's actually a little bit more ballsier than me because I'm not even gonna lie. I might be the young one here, but my type of skiing is like what I would call touristy skiing or fake skiing. I would go to like Gatlinburg and do that.
No, you got to go to Colorado.
Little
man.
mini hill.
No, you got to go to Colorado.
Little mini hill's good enough for me. That's not one of those things that I'm super into with skiing. It freaks me out.
It's actually
sometimes.
fun. Have you been?
I've only done the Ober-Gatlinburg type skiing.
It
amateurs.
is fun. I will say it is very fun. Because I'm with you. The first time I ever went skiing, I was up in Indiana of all places. They had a little bunny hill and that's how I learned, man. But it's fun. It really is.
Yeah, JP, that was his wedding gift to us. Is he's giving me and my wife a week's stay over there at his place.
Okay.
So for some, I think later in the winter. So I'm gonna get to experience it
go.
at some point.
It's fun.
So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But of course, we got
My question is, I want to get one of those burritos he got for breakfast.
I know
the hand-delivered burrito right there.
Exactly. You should have seen it. It's like before the show starts, everybody's just giving him stuff. He doesn't have to get up. So he has a pretty good setup over there.
Stay healthy, JP. Eat good. Don't be having too many of those IPAs. I know he was talking about the IPAs.
Him and his IPAs.
Yep. So, I'm looking forward to being here. I appreciate you guys having me on.
And go ahead and familiarize yourself with the audience for those who don't know you. What you do. I know you have a podcast as well.
Yep. Here, Powers on Sports podcast. I'm a product of the Tampa Bay area. I grew up here. Played a little football in college at Florida State. So that's actually where I first knew JP. When I was a player, he was still on the air in Tallahassee doing stuff in Tallahassee. So I used to watch JP all the time when I was a college student. He was in younger part of his career, so he was a big star up in Tallahassee and played football Florida State for a couple years. Ended up finishing up at UAB up in Alabama. Was up in Alabama a long time professionally, and then moved back to Tampa about 5 years ago, and have gotten into the media world a little bit. And I know we're going to talk to TJ Reeves later.
Yep.
He's been very helpful, helping me, and got a little podcast. So I'd love to Powers on Sports podcast.
Yeah, and we're glad to have you today. And you brought up TJ. TJ's going to join us at 10:30. TJ, I believe he was in Houston.
He was
for the
Final Four.
for the Final Four. And for the national title game, which we got into on Tuesday's show, but we're going to go deeper with TJ because he was there, got to see the sights and the sounds. Of course, Buck's sideline guy. We'll get into some Bucks with him. Maybe even some Rays. I know he loves his Rays, and how could you not love the Rays at this moment?
And I know he's a big Masters guy.
And
with
he's
the
a big Masters guy.
Golf guy with Masters kicking off today.
Yeah, this is one of those special weeks in sports.
Oh, yeah.
And it's cool that this kind of ends on Easter Sunday.
Yep.
That's going to be really cool. Sit down, have a nice family with or a meal with your family, watch the Masters. The TV stays on.
Hopefully the Masters finishes on Sunday because I know there's a lot of weather issues. And then there's talking about maybe, who knows, they may have to finish on a Monday, but we'll see.
Yeah, and they've teed off today. I haven't seen much of it so far. All I saw was the Gary player, Jack Nicklaus, and Tom Watson doing the ceremonial tee-off, which I love watching that every single year. But we'll get into the Masters a little bit later and TJ Reeves at 10:30. But we have to start with the Rays.
Yep.
We have to start with the Rays because this team, and if you listen to this show, you know that JP was not the most optimistic, and I kind of went through stretches of the offseason too where I thought they needed to add some pieces.
Yep.
But they've come into the season like a team that feels disrespected. They feel like last year was a failure because it was. And I know they're playing the Tigers and the Nationals. They're not playing the Yankees. They're not playing the Astros right now. But just to put into perspective, I saw this yesterday of how amazing the start is after a 7-2 victory yesterday for a sweep. They've now outscored their opponents 44-13 and won all 6 games by at least 4 runs. That is the longest such streak to begin a season in the modern era and the longest in MLB history. The last team to do that was in 1884.
Not 1984,
No.
1884.
The St. Louis Maroons.
Yes.
I don't even know what the St. Louis Maroons are. They had a 13-game winning streak to open up the season in 1884. That is how special what the Rays are doing right now.
By the way, Pat Maroon, who's from St. Louis.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Maroons.
That is very
St.
interesting.
Maroon.
Yep.
I bet there may be some history there. You never know.
You never know.
With that name, that family lineage, and all that stuff. But, yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
Pat
so
Maroon.
absolutely historic pace that they're on right now. They're also the first team, and now if you go equate it to modern history now, the first team to open up the season with 6 consecutive victories since the Baltimore Orioles in 2016. And yesterday, again, they do it in a completely different way. They didn't get the best out of Shane McClanahan like we would expect.
But 2 runs in 6 innings is still pretty good.
Yeah, you take that.
I mean, all day.
Yeah, you take that. He was able to manage it. I thought he was fighting his stuff for most of it. You could tell he was frustrated.
Yep.
I think it was in the 4th inning where he was really going through some struggles. And then it's like all of a sudden he like flipped a switch.
Yep.
And it looked like you got an angry Shane McClanahan.
Yep.
And he throws 3 fastballs 100 up high, and he threw, I think it was Abrams he blew away.
Right.
And the next guy that comes up, he blows him away with 100 up and high, and he got really amped up. I think that kind of got him back into the game a little bit. And again, I mean, you give up 2 runs. If that's your 6 innings,
That's
2 runs.
If that's your average start.
That's your average start.
You'll take that all day.
You take that. You take that all day, especially compared to what we saw from Josh Fleming the night before. He should really be on the roster, but that's another story. But when you hit like the Rays have done right now, they lead Major League Baseball in home runs. They're number 1 in slugging. Oh, and by the way, their ERA is 2, which is second in baseball. I mean, they're getting contributions really from everybody.
Up and down the lineup.
From everybody.
No doubt. No, there's no doubt. I think the one great thing that if you're a Rays fan, in which we have lots of Rays fans in the audience, they're beating the teams they're supposed to beat.
Yes.
The weaker teams that are allegedly supposed to be weaker, the Washingtons, the Detroits, they're not messing around here early because these games count just as much as that game in mid-August or late September when you're 1 or 2 games out of the division lead or the wild card. It's nice to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. That's a sign of a good team is when they beat the teams they're supposed to beat. Again, are they going to keep hitting and slugging like they are for the first 6, 7 games? No, but it's encouraging to know that we're not laboring to try to win these games 2-1, 3-2. When you know that the pitching is going to be there.
Yeah.
The question's never about the pitching here. It's about can they sustain enough offense and clutch offense, score in the games that they need to score in the tighter games.
Yeah, and look around the league too. When everybody says, "Well, look who you're beating," well, the Boston Red Sox in your division just got swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Right.
And I guarantee you, if Boston's around later in the season, if they're in contention, they're going to look back at this opening series against Pittsburgh and go, wow, we really let that slide.
Right.
I keep bringing up the example. The Rays don't win the division in 2021 without the Yankees losing more than half their games against the Orioles, who finished in last place.
Right.
So you've got to put these teams away, and they're doing it in convincing fashion. Outside of the game the other night, which was just awesome, where they were down 5-4 and they get 3 home runs in the ninth, something they've never done before. Outside of that, they've really controlled the pace, I think, of all these games. And like I said, getting it from everyone down the line, even yesterday, it's like the only guy that was left that hadn't gotten a hit on the season was Harold Ramirez.
Yep.
And what does he do? He gets a base hit, and then he hits a shot to center. I think the launch angle on that was about 17 feet. The balls are juiced. Okay, the balls are juiced.
You're convinced of that?
I'm completely convinced that we've got the 2019 baseballs back. They didn't tell us that.
How do you know that?
I'm seeing a lot of balls that are getting out of the park that, quite frankly, have no business getting out.
Well, hey.
I think Major League Baseball.
A lot of rule changes. A lot of rule changes that they want to keep things moving.
And I don't blame them, by the way. The pitching around the league right now is just off the. I don't know how any of these guys hit the baseball.
And one thing I will say, the weather has not been as cold as it's been in years past in other places. It's not been as there's been some years we've been playing where they've been playing in 40-degree weather for 10 days, the first, especially in the Midwest, up northeast. It's not been as cold. It's been chilly in a couple places, but it's not been nearly as cold as it could be in some of these places, which obviously warmer weather means the ball's going to travel a little bit better too. So,
yeah, and I think that's one of those things where I don't know why I'm hearing feedback right now. You hear that, Jason?
A little bit.
me figure that out real quick. Oh, I got it. Sorry about that, folks. A little feedback.
Live TV here.
Little feedback though. It's a tab that I forgot to close. This is all it was. I'm like freaking out. I'm like, what is that? Why am I hearing my voice in my ear again? It's just a tab I forgot to close. But anyway, one of those home runs I can guarantee though the ball. This was not an example of the ball being juiced. This was as easy as it came from an elite hitter around the league, and that was Wander Franco. And this was in the third inning yesterday off of Patrick Corbin, his second home run of the season of what has been a blistering start for the Rays' best player.
Line shot back into left. Call's going to go to the wall, and that one is gone. Line drive home run into the bullpen off the bat of Wander Franco. And the Rays on the...
Yep, Wander Franco right there, his second home run of the season for the Rays. And this came after he had an 0 for 5 the other day, and now he's up to he's hitting 417.
Yeah, 4-7. Oh yeah, I mean
417.
He's the key. To me, he is the catalyst to this team. If he's going to go, the Rays are going to go as far as he I don't say takes them, but he needs to be the leader.
Yes.
This is his third year in the majors. Last year was an injury-plagued year. He didn't play his best because he was hurt. If this guy can stay healthy and play 145 games, whether it's in the field or at DH, they've got a real chance here. I think you're going to have solid contributions around him with a Rosarena, Lowe, Rayleigh's playing great to start the year.
Mm-hmm.
But Franco is the guy. This is your franchise player. You've invested in him. This is the guy. This is kind of the Mike Trout of Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
This is our guy that if we're going to be deep in the playoffs, he's got to stay healthy, and he's got to continue to project in his career. And he's got all the ability in the world.
And that's what I've been saying. When he came out as a prospect, and he was the number one prospect for about 2 years. There's not many guys that can do that for 2 consecutive years. He's one of them, and he's been put in the Juan Soto categories, the Ronald Acuna Jr.'s, the Vlad Guerreros. And when you're compared to those 3 guys, given the careers they've had already as young as they are, Wander Franco has got to be in that kind of top echelon of Major League Baseball. I think last year he actually got off to a really hot start, if you remember.
Right.
And unfortunately, it just seemed like pitchers started to adjust a little bit to him. We're throwing him a little more off speed, and he was really struggling. Then he gets hurt.
Yep.
It was a lost season. It was a lost season for him and a lot of guys in this lineup, but he's definitely re-energized, and he's showing you that I think he's going to get MVP votes this year if he stays healthy.
If he plays 145, 150 games, he's going to be in the hunt. He'll be clearly 100 RBI guy. I think one thing you're seeing from Franco is the maturity of becoming a professional. 2 years ago, he was the hot star prospect. He came up, played well for the bit. Last year, he was injured. Is that a result of maybe not taking care of himself the right way, thinking he's, hey, I'm 22 years old?
We've seen things with the playing all those 81 home games on the Trop and everything.
Right.
It is what it is, right? Not to go too bogged down in the stadium, but the turf, it's a real thing.
Right.
It's hard on players.
And you have to, and especially in baseball, you have to manage your body all the time. Even if you're 25 years old or 35 years old, you have to manage your body, eat. Again, who knows? I don't know anything about Franco off the field, whether he eats right and all that stuff. But as you get older in your career and more expectations, you take those things more seriously. And maybe he understands this is a big year. The Rays rewarded him with a big contract.
Exactly. It's a lot. He knows now there's a lot of pressure on him to kind of make the Rays, because the Rays don't just give out long-term deals to anybody. They don't. An 11-year deal, I think it's the most they've ever invested in money total to a player by far. Like this is like we're talking $100 million more than what they invested in Longoria about a decade ago.
Right, and he's worth it if he plays well.
He's worth it.
But you as the player have to show that you're worth it.
Yeah.
And he's off to a great start.
And he's doing that right now. And the other guy that's doing it right now, and I think these two are going to find themselves probably in the All-Star game if they stay healthy, and that's Randy Arozarena. The stardom that he got coming out of the World Baseball Classic, but he's had a lot of inconsistencies up here in the big leagues. And interesting enough, he says in the offseason, I'm going to change some things. I really haven't studied pitchers like I probably should have.
Right.
And, look at what he's been able to do without doing that.
Right.
And now he's added that into his arsenal. And he's doing everything right now. He's hitting home runs. He's hitting extra base hits. The base paths, that was one of the things last year he really struggled with, was outs on the base path.
Right.
And this team has done that in a whole. But Randy Arozarena, he's running out ground balls. I mean, there's been if the Franco home, it doesn't happen without Randy Arozarena getting on base. I mean, he's continued to kind of show you that he looks like he's definitely ready to take that next step as a major leaguer. So he's another guy that I think has been as key to their success so far as anybody.
Absolutely. And part of his deal, too, is he's probably getting close to a contract where he can get paid. So he probably realizes the urgency of the details of the game, running the bases the right way, studying a little bit more. Again, these guys have so much natural ability. Sometimes they think, I can just go to the plate. Whatever they throw, I'm going to hit it. Yeah. You have to understand there's a craft to hitting. There's a craft to pitching. Yeah. They study you. You need to study them. And, again, staying healthy. We don't need Randy to hit. Randy's not going to hit 40 homers, but if he can hit 25 homers, hit about 280, 290, drive in 100, and be that support for Wander Franco, again, they're going to both those guys will go through periods of time when they struggle at the plate for 6, 7, 8 days, whatever it is. But it's the consistency you need to show that you want to see that's going to make such an impact.
Yeah, so Randy's been awesome as well, and the other guy that I mentioned yesterday that finally came through, and that was Harold Ramirez. This guy hit 364 last year against left-handers. So for people saying, well, he doesn't hit enough for power stuff, all I know is this guy can hit lefties, and that's why he's in the lineup. And yesterday he had a great matchup against Patrick Corbin, and here was the home run again, one of the lowest launch angles I think you're ever going to see on a home run. This was an absolute rocket, even though the ball was juiced, but here it was.
Into center field, dangling back Robles, and that's going to be over his head and gone. He thought he might have a chance, number one, I think, to begin with, to catch it, then to maybe play it off the wall, and that ball stayed up and got out of here. A line drive home run by Ramirez.
Yeah, and Brian Anderson and Dwayne Stats were talking about it on the broadcast. I guess the press area there in Nationals Park, they keep saying it's like we're like completely in the sky. I guess it's higher than all the other ballparks.
Yeah.
So they have a real good of trying to, like, the trajectory of the ball.
Right.
And they were saying, like, even up there, they were like, there's no way that thing's getting out. And you could hear when Dwayne was calling it. Like, he was kind of very nonchalant.
Right,
and all this.
Double,
yeah,
one
for a
hopper
double
off
or
the
whatever. And it gets out, which the balls are juiced, like I said. But, I mean, seriously, though, that pitch, that was an 80-mile-per-hour curveball below the zone by a few inches. And Harold goes down and gets it.
When you hit it on the barrel, man, it goes.
Barrel Ramirez is what they called him last year.
Right. I mean, again, the contribution, kudos to the front office for finding guys like Harold Ramirez, Siri. Rosarena was a throw-in a trade a couple years ago. So, I mean, the question is for the Rays, can these, I won't say bit part players, can the Ramirez's, the series, can they keep this up over the next 3 months? Everybody can play great for a week. Can you keep up the consistency over the course of 3 or 4 months?
And we see that a lot across Major League Baseball. There's guys that a lot of people may have never heard of who end up the first couple weeks of the season.
Luke Raley's having a great start.
Luke Raley's having a great start.
Can he keep it up?
And the Rays hope he can. We've been saying this. Him and Josh Lowe.
Yep.
I mean, obviously they need Franco to be Franco, and they need a Rosarena to be a Rosarena. But in regards to finding that left-handed power,
that's right.
They've been looking for that. They didn't find it in the offseason, so they kind of had to rerun it again with Josh Lowe. Maybe they were a year early last year. I think Eric Neander would admit that. But Luke Raley, another guy who's been mashing in the minors his entire career. He was a former top prospect for the Dodgers.
Right.
He was never going to get a chance to succeed there with what they have going on. But so far, those two guys, I mean, they're both hitting well over 300.
Right.
You've got 5 home runs, I believe, combined between the two of them to start. They get the day off yesterday, well-deserved, by the way. So, yeah, I think right now, we talked about this again yesterday, Eric Neander, how hard is it to find great management in a sports team? And in this market, we're so lucky that we have Eric Neander running things in the Rays.
Especially with the limited resources.
Exactly.
I mean, you're not going out and taking chances on guys.
Yeah, they're being patient.
These are economical moves that you're making. Scouting, again, you don't. I mean, part of the greatness of the Rays organization, scouting-wise, is finding a guy who they can project from a minor league, has had minor league success. Maybe he hasn't had the best major league success, but hey, in our system, we fit him into a role. He can do well. And
that's why I'm so over the national pundits, media, I guess, if you will, that continue to just cast every time I hear that this is an anonymous team and everything, and I'm looking around, I'm like, these are not anonymous players. These are not.
Nationally, they are.
Why is that?
Because we've never heard of Luke Raley. Luke Raley's never done it at the major league level.
It's not really the Luke Raleys of the world that I'm talking about. But, I mean, again, I've been at this already. Every time I see a great pitching outing from this team, I'm reminded of MLB.com's list where they do not have this team as a top 10 pitching team in the league, which is garbage.
Right.
And saying that it was an anonymous. I read the article, and it said anonymous starting rotation. I'm like, the guy that pitched yesterday started the All-Star game in Los Angeles last year. Don't tell me he's anonymous.
Right.
But I think that's kind of helping the Rays right now.
Oh, no doubt.
They definitely feel a bit
They thrive
slighted.
in that.
They've always thrived in that. So that's why I predicted this team is probably – I think they're going to win 95 games. I'm sticking by it. Right now I feel rewarded by it. And people keep asking me, well, how long are they going to keep this up? And I said, well, they're going to keep it up through Sunday because they get the day off today, and then they come back home, and they get Oakland.
Yep.
Oakland is a deadbeat baseball team going absolutely nowhere.
Right.
It wouldn't surprise me if the Rays go ahead and sweep Oakland while they're at it, and you're 9-0.
Oh.
And if you jump out to a 9-0 start, I mean, I know it's early, but –
And what it does is it gives you that cushion because there's going to be a stretch, again, whether it's June, July, August, whatever it is, where the Rays don't play well for 10 days. They go 2-8 or 3-7. Every team has one of those.
Yeah.
We just don't know when it's going to happen. But these games, beating up on the bad teams, is what separates good teams from the great teams from the mediocre teams.
Yeah, and even after that, they get 4 against Boston, which if you saw, again, they got swept by Pittsburgh. They're not in a good spot right now, especially with their pitching staff. So this could keep going for the next week and a half, I think, this tear that they're on. And that's great. Get out. We talked about the schedule makers were so kind to the Rays to start the season. They're doing what they need to do. So, in general, I think it's a fun baseball team. They got a nice mix of personalities. They've got a nice core. I mean, when was the last time we've seen a core of players stay together for this long with the Rays? I think that matters as well with continuity in the clubhouse.
Absolutely. You re-up Diaz at third base, Yandy Diaz, which he's a perfect kind of a utility guy.
Yeah.
He's a solid player. He's never going to be a 35 home run guy, but he's going to be solid defense. He's a good clubhouse guy. He relates well with the Hispanic guys on the team.
Yep.
Those kind of things. He's a perfect fit. You got Syrian center field, a younger guy, catcher. The catchers are the one part of the roster that's really never been a huge run producing part, other than Zunino for a couple of spurts. But good catcher. You got good defensively. Again, the Rays, when they hit the ball, they're dangerous because we know, like you mentioned, the pitching is always going to be there. Somehow, some way, they figure out the pitching.
Yeah, and this is the formula. Again, in 2021, when they won 100 games, won the division, the Rays were second in the league in runs that season, and they pitched the lights out, and you won 100 games. Now, the key for this club is always going to be, will the hitting be there when we get to October?
Right.
That has been the problem, I guess, the last 2 postseasons for this team. But we'll cross that bridge. We got a long time to go before then. If they're in the mix like this, I think they'll end up making a move at the deadline as well.
Oh, yeah. They've shown the last couple of years they've been willing to make a move at the deadline for a hitter.
If they're in it.
If they're in it, for sure. And again, is it the number one prospect or number
maybe
one?
Maybe they don't need it right now.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I would love to see as we move through the year, and I know the Rays are an analytics team, Kevin Cash, manage what you see. Mm-hmm. If McClanahan's pitching great, and he's at 85 pitches or 92 pitches, don't take him out.
Well, I thought he was gonna pull him yesterday after 5 innings. He was already up to 85 pitches, and we know, your workload's not always there early on. So I actually thought he was gonna get the hook after there because he didn't even have his best stuff. But he let him go out there for that 6th inning, and he put it away with ease and let him get the 6 innings. He gets, I think he picked up the win yesterday. I want to say.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he got the win.
But don't overmanage the numbers. Manage with your eyes a little bit. Again, that's where we got in trouble in the World Series. I mean, again,
that's the infamous moment.
And I get it. There's an argument to be made for analytics and all that, and I'm to some degree a proponent of certain things of it. But with the rule changes, the shift changes, you're not going to be able to rely on analytics as much, especially defensively. So be a little more flexible as a manager, Kevin Cash. Keep doing what you're doing. And the Rays are off to a fantastic start.
Yeah, and let's listen, by the way, to the Rays ace yesterday, Shane McClanahan, who spoke to Trista Whitaker and Mark Topkin after.
Something real nice about when you settle in and, cruise a little bit, but it's not as sweet as the ones where you had to really earn it. That ball club over there did a really good job today at, taking advantage of bad pitches, being selective, and, they did a good job. I had a battle, and it was a fist fight, and kudos to these guys in this locker room for having my back and keep fighting with me.
When you got out of that 4th on back-to-back strikeouts, did you reach back for a little something more? What was key for that?
No, I just kind of tried to get back to what I did last start and all last year was just attack. I felt I got out of a rhythm today and just couldn't figure it out, and just ended up having a battle and just keep trying to make pitches.
How about that Randy Arozarena run, save, and catch?
Yeah, I already told him. I owe him some. You know, Randy's been a spark plug. Wander's been a spark plug. You know, this offense they're coming to life, and you know, they're giving us a chance to win games when, you know, you don't have your best stuff or you don't feel necessarily the best or make the best pitches. So, you know, having these guys behind you and having your back makes all the world.
We've all pointed out your record, now 6-0, but the way you guys have played, is that maybe what's been most satisfying, the overall effort all the way around?
It's team baseball. Through and through, team baseball. No matter the situation, no matter the count, it's team baseball. And, you know, it's good camaraderie in here. And I hope I said that right, camaraderie. There you go. And, you know, it's been a good couple series for us.
How important was it for you to get through 6? I mean, pitch count was climbing there in the 4th.
Yeah.
You got out of that and got through it.
Battled my ass off. It was just one of those things where it wasn't coming easy, and that's the beauty of baseball, man. You know, some days it's smooth sailing, and some days you got to fight, claw with everything you got to get through 5 or 6, and it's you know, obviously I could have been better, but it's just as sweet to know that I really earned it today, and you know, I fought for everything I did.
Yeah, battled my ass off. That's the key takeaway from there, and that's what the elite pitchers do. That's what the elite pitchers do, and that's the thing. Through 2 starts of Shane McClanahan, I wouldn't even argue that his opening day outing, I mean, it was almost a layup with the Tigers' offense that day, how dreadful it was. I wouldn't even argue that was the best of Shane McClanahan.
Right.
I thought he got into a groove, actually, like in the 5th inning.
Right.
And by then, you're already looking to take him out because it's opening day. So you haven't even gotten the best out of your ace yet.
Oh, I mean,
and you're 2-0 in his starts.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and if you think about it, if a guy like McClanahan starts 30 times, you're probably going to have 7 or 8 elite outings where he's just feeling it.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have the rest of the outings where spurts of the game he's not, you know, whether it's the early part of the game, the middle part of the game, he's either not hitting the strike zone, doesn't have full command. Great pitchers figure out ways to get outs when they don't have their best stuff.
Yeah, and he did that yesterday. Before we wrap up on the Rays, let's hear from the skipper yesterday, Kevin Cash, who I feel like Kevin wants to tell everybody, yeah, we have a really good team. But he's going to refrain. He's not going to go that far, but I think he knows. I think this team knows right now, playing with a lot of confidence. So here was Kevin Cash after the game yesterday.
Got an early lead for Mac. I'm really impressed with Shane. Just kind of, you know, sometimes your best outings are the ones that you got to really work through, grind through a little bit. Washington did a good job they had a solid approach against them. But, you know, the 4th inning, getting out of that jam, bases loaded, no outs, was probably the biggest leverage moment of the game for us.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that what makes him an elite pitcher, or makes an elite pitcher elite when they can do things like that?
Yeah, I think so. When he reaches back and gets a little bit extra, gets a little bit nastier, knowing that the game's on the line right there. But he just continued, and then he, from that point, went and got two more innings. I wasn't necessarily thinking that he was going to get 6 innings the way the 4th was unfolding. So really, really impressed with Shane.
And he always credits the defense behind him, but perhaps today that defense was on display. Randy's catch, Margot behind Poche, the 6-4-3. I mean, just what did you see there that impressed you?
Well, Randy's catch, definitely. I mean, off the bat, no chance. He got some air. Manny, it feels like deja vu. This is the 2nd one that he's had. And our infield defense, if we can get to it, we're going to convert a lot of outs.
And then just Wander with a 2-run homer to continuing his hot start. It just seems like you're getting something from just about everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, the lineup, the way it's worked out the first 6 games, it does feel like whoever's in there is certainly contributing. Harold might have been last on the list, but then came up and got a hit, and then a big home run to take it from 3-2 to 4-2.
I know you're kind of not making a big deal about the record. The way you've played, is that where your satisfaction is?
Yeah, I think we should be very pleased with the way that we've played. The consistency defensively on the mound, at the plate, our approach at the plate has really stood out. It just feels like we're making a lot of good decisions, and I know that was kind of harped on throughout all spring training. The guys are getting themselves in good counts, and then when they get them, they're doing some damage.
Same kind of thing, too, as far as doing it different ways. You get some homers, first run scores on a bunt and a sac fly from Randy. Just a lot of different ways you guys can score runs.
I don't know if I'm too supportive of Randy bunting that much, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the catch, the bunt.
He was all over the game.
And then the slide, slide.
Then another RBI later. He had a really good game. Randy's got off to a good start. Look, you're going to have a lot of players when you're you win 6 games out of the gate. A lot of people got to do good things, and it feels like top to bottom, our entire roster is contributing in a positive way.
No doubt about that. It's all positive for the Rays right now. And I think it's going to continue, like I said, at least through this
Oakland series.
Oakland series, which I was just looking ahead to.
And Rays fans, we're 6-0. Let's get out and support the guys this weekend. It's a holiday
weekend. I know
weekend.
it's tough. I know because it's Oakland.
And
Everybody's
it's Easter Sunday, so that's challenging. But Friday, Saturday, there's no reason why we can't have a good crowd.
I think they'll show up. I think they show for the weekend series. Usually are never the problem.
Right.
Never the problem. If this was Oakland on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
you're right.
We know unfortunately
and it's Oakland.
It's Oakland.
Right.
I don't blame you. And again, I already looked ahead to that series, and the ERAs of the 3 guys they're going to be facing 9.53, 30.86, and 9.
Again,
right
2 out of 3. The old Bobby Cox adage from the Braves. Let's win 2 out of every 3.
Yeah.
If we can do 2 out of 3, you're going to win 100 games. You're going to be well over 100 games. So keep it up, Rays. You're doing great. Again, Rays fans, we're not gonna win 125 games here. There's going to be some, but these games, like my big point is, these games count just as much as ones in September.
Absolutely.
Stockpile the ones now, which gives you a little bit of margin for error down the road when you do go through that little rut.
Yep. Enjoy it for now because this is a fun baseball team, and it's fun to watch your team when they're destroying teams like this.
Absolutely.
But we'll take our first break here. TJ Reeves, Bucs sideline guy, is going to join us. He was at the national championship game on Monday and the Final Four over there in Houston. So we'll get a full recap from an on-site report from him, talk a little Bucs. Maybe he has a little opinion on these streaking Rays right now as well. So back on the other side with TJ Reeves.
Guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. It's all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by. Never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Tell them JP sent you. Get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Hey guys, JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. There is no better place to shop for jewelry than the Gold and Diamond Source. We know that. They are the family jewelers, and they will treat you like family. It's always a fun experience. Just head on over there. You will not find a better selection anywhere in the world. It's a jewelry super center. They've got engagement rings, necklaces, earrings, pendants, chains, and thousands of diamonds to choose from. They're all right there. They don't have to ship anything in. They have jewelry for every price range as well. Guys, if you're looking for some of those baller watches, they have a great selection. They have new and used. You can get some great collectibles there as well. And if you're looking for some more affordable gold gold and diamond jewelry, you have to check out the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Emily created this collection for people who want to wear and stack elaborate jewelry but don't want to pay the big ticket prices. You got to check this stuff out. The Gold and Diamond Source has plenty of options to accommodate any budget, interest-free financing for up to 5 years, and a layaway program, 20% down and only 6 monthly payments. And this month only, get up to 15% off the March birthstone, which is aquamarine. Like we always say, keep it local, folks. The Gold and Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub, such great philanthropic benefactors. So let's keep it all local here when we have the opportunity, right? It's the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of the JP Peterson Show. Nick Geddes with Jason Powers filling in for JP Peterson, who is on vacation out there in Breckenridge, Colorado. Brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group and Bay Area Modern Medical Center, as always. And we want to welcome TJ Reed. This is a TJ Thursday, not a TJ Tuesday. Thursday. It's been a little bit since we've had you on, TJ. How you doing?
I am doing well. Great to be with you guys. Look at Brother Powers. I'm disappointed. I don't have any Masters green on. You don't have any Masters green on. I don't know how big Nick is into all of this.
I had a Tiger Woods hat that I put out on the bed this morning to wear, and
You did not go red and black though today. That's Sunday, right?
That's
Red and
Sunday.
black.
But I
Sunday
had
for Tiger.
the Tiger Woods hat, and I completely walked out without it. Forgot it.
All right, in honor of this week, Mr. Reeves, hello, friend.
Yes, hello, friends. And I was around Jim Nance on Monday as he was inundated, bombarded at the Final Four and in the championship game, because that's the last time he's going to be doing the basketball. And now he's right back at Augusta, so you'll be seeing him for this week. So listen, it's great to be with you on all subjects, whatever you like. NCAA Final Four, the Masters. We do have the breaking news that Tiger parred the first hole.
Ooh.
Everybody's on Tiger watch at all hours of the day for the Masters, so he's out there. At Augusta, will he contend? Can he just hang in? Can he walk? It's a difficult walk, guys, up and down those hills on the front nine. Can he? By Saturday, physically.
Cold weather, the rain and that cold weather.
Oh, not his friend. Good point on that. So anyway, Tiger's on the course. I don't know what happened to the Lightning last night. I'm taking ridicule from everywhere, from every New York Ranger fan that's out from under every rock and crevice. After that game, we got the Rays off to a great start. Final Four, Buccaneers draft coming up. Whatever avenues you boys want to travel, I am at your disposal here on FanStream JP. Without JP, who's on vacation, and yet Nick and Jason Powers handling things.
JP for JP,
yeah,
man. JP for JP.
I've hijacked this show. This is my show. This is my show. We've talked about topics that JP would never cross into.
Good.
And we could. He says I'm grounded when he gets back, so I might be on a
Hopefully,
vacation.
at least on one occasion or two, you've ridiculed him unmercifully for not talking about those topics. I would be disappointed if you have not ridiculed him for not talking about those topics. But go ahead.
I've done so. But we'll start with the national championship game because you had the unique experience there in Houston for the Final Four. A little bit more of an unorthodox. We didn't see the big blue bloods.
A little bit.
Yeah, not the blue bloods, if you will. A lot of people said they were more interested in the women's game, which I thought was great as well. But the men's game is always going to be the moneymaker in the big TV turnout. You were there. Just your overall thoughts on that weekend and, of course, the national title game.
This event never disappoints, and the build up to it with the mayhem of a 16 beating a 1 like Fairleigh Dickinson, or Princeton gets to the Sweet 16, or teams like Florida Atlantic that had never been ranked in the top 25, had never won an NCAA tournament game, and they go ahead and make it all the way to the Final Four. You've got San Diego State that most people don't know anything about the basketball program. You might know something about Marshall Faulk, that guy, the Hall of Famer, and football, but you don't know anything about the basketball program. If you're, let's say, east of the Colorado Rockies, you don't know about them. They've been really good. They get all the way to the championship game on one of the craziest, most incredible sequences and shots. I mean, I would submit this. Yes, you want to win it. Yes, you want to cut the nets down. But short of winning it, would you boys not agree? To have a moment like that in the Final Four that's going to be shown and talked about for the next decade, for the next 20 years, they're going to talk about that San Diego State shot in the semifinal. That short of winning it all, that's about the next best thing for that basketball program. What do you guys think? What do you say?
Only the fifth time in history there's been a buzzer beater at the Final Four.
Yes.
in history of the Final Four, a buzzer beater. People talk about Final Four Saturday being such an awesome day. Just talk about the atmosphere of Final Four Saturday, just the build-up, you getting into the arena, the 2 games. Obviously, we had the buzzer beater, and then we had UConn Miami Saturday night.
So the first thing is everybody was wondering, okay, is this going to hurt the attendance? Answer, negative. The place was full, and it was full by the middle of the first half of Florida Atlantic and San Diego State. And again, corporate tickets are a bunch of it, but the fans were scrambling from all the different schools to get their hands on tickets. I mean, we talked to alumni, famous alumni, even from different fan bases that were saying, we don't know where we're sitting yet. We got to figure this out. This is Saturday morning, trying to figure it all out on, are we in these different sections? It was electric in that building. And this event has become something beyond just playing for a basketball championship. I mean, it is an electric setting in a football stadium with 70,000 people. They raised the court. So configure and picture this, folks. They raised the court in the middle of the field. It's not in one of the end zones like what it used to be with the wraparound temporary stands. This is in the middle of the football field. And the whole football stadium can get a decent view, and they've got huge video boards. And when Lamont Butler made that shot, they were coming right at our overflow media section in that end zone. So we're in the 2 end zones. Most of the highfalutin media, very few of them get to sit on the sides with the broadcasters. So you're in the overflow section. So San Diego State's coming right at us. We're right behind the CBS TNT set, TBS set, sitting right there as they come at us. He lets that ball go. I see the red light go off as the ball's going in. And then, I mean, it is bonkers as you can imagine, like an earthquake. And it was not Charles Barkley jumping up and down in front of us on the set that created the earthquake this time. That was like the Villanova game 7 years ago. Barkley's jumping up and down, and the whole place is shaking like this. And you're thinking it's because of Barkley. But in any event, I mean, I will take that moment with me for a decade, for 25 years, no matter what happened after that. And then UConn dominated Miami. UConn dominated for the most part the championship game. They're the real story out of this tournament. But such a crazy year, and what a great moment at that Final Four. So it's neat to be part of that.
Yeah, it never disappoints. It's one of the few guarantees that March Madness will never disappoint. And even the whole build-up, no number 1 seeds in the Elite Eight for the first time. You had the moment of I thought the actual moment of the tournament happened in the first round when Virginia, I forgot who it was. It's been so long now. Was
Furman.
that Furman?
Furman in Orlando. TJ was there.
Yeah. The Furman play.
2 minutes beforehand.
Yeah.
Walked in the building at the last minute.
Do you want the 90-second version of that story?
Go ahead.
Give me a little So I'm doing my work duties. I get done with my work duties, and I live in Northwest Hillsborough County, right by the Pasco line. That's not exactly easy to get to Orlando in the Amway Center before that game is over. So I end up not going the I-75, I-4 wraparound, come back to it, go through Disney, go through SeaWorld, then get to downtown. I mean, that was going to be, we were looking on Waze and Google Maps, that was going to be like 2.5 hours. So it was only 2 hours to go the back way, which is go north and come across State Road 50 through what I like to call Deliverance, Florida, in the middle of the state. Nick doesn't know that reference on what Deliverance the movie is and rednecks and that stuff.
No.
So I'm driving through Deliverance, Florida, the back way to come down the parkway, the Florida Parkway, and come into downtown. That only took about 2 hours instead of 2.5 hours. The benefit from that was by the time I got parked and I got my credential, I get in the arena and they're in the final minute of the game. And they're coming out of a timeout. Furman, Virginia, one of the first games of the tournament on that Thursday. And I'm trying to find a media seat. So I come around the bands that are in the end zone and I see an open seat and I go sit right behind the open seat. And it turns out it's right at midcourt behind Kevin Harlan and Stan Van Gundy and Dan Bonner calling the game. Yep. And that Virginia play happens. I'm not kidding you. 60 seconds after I got in that seat, he lobs that ball like a grenade with the pin pulled. Furman intercepts, and the three-pointer's right in front of us. And I'm looking at it going, that is dead on. And it went in. And the arena exploded at the Amway Center. I've been in the building 3 minutes tops, and that has happened. So welcome to March. Welcome to that moment. Fairleigh Dickinson beating a 1 seed. I mean, Florida Atlantic.
And people don't realize your Memphis Tigers had Florida Atlantic beat if they get a timeout called and they'll give a layup at the buzzer.
You got to go there. I'm still not over it. I'm not over it a month later. They had them beat, and Florida Atlantic never has any of this magic if my Tigers don't spit the bit and choke it away. But Florida Atlantic made the plays, made the shots. They go to Madison Square Garden and win. I mean, you talk about all-time stuff. Yep. They're going to be talking about this for 25 years, no matter what they do, short of winning a national title, about Florida Atlantic never having won an NCAA tournament game, never been in the top 25. What a year!
And they kept their coach. The coach didn't leave either.
Yeah. But from Boca Raton to San Diego to Storrs, Connecticut, I mean, you had stories everywhere. Great college basketball season. UConn deserves the most credit. They were the best team. So there you go in the Final Four. And it's something else to be around that. I was rooting for the Armageddon Final Four of Florida Atlantic, the beach Armageddon, Florida Atlantic and Miami.
I think
no one would have been watching, but it would have been wild.
It would have been,
but we didn't get either one.
If we would have had an all-fly, I mean, I thought this was a football state, and we've turned into a basketball state.
Incredible.
Two of the most unlikely programs you'd think, by the way. But you obviously, the story is UConn, though. They get the win. They made this look entirely too easy, did they not? I mean, unbelievable coaching job from Dan Hurley, and I thought he was maybe he hasn't been talked about as much maybe as the Dusty Mays of the world, and I understand that, the Brian Dutchers, but I mean, he's a great coach, and he turned this program around in 5 years. And UConn, I have to ask you this, because I know I mentioned we didn't have the Blue Bloods, and I forgot to mention this. UConn is a blue blood. Can we say that? Because I'm hearing a lot of people saying they're not a blue blood. Like, they're having this threat. I'm like, they got the same amount of national championships as Duke and Kansas and all these traditional blue bloods, if you will. I mean, if you could put the women's team into it, they've won a national championship in 13 of the last 24 years.
3 in the last 12 years with 3 different coaches.
Yes.
How about their 4 championship wins, UConn, to your point, in the 2000s, is more than the Big Ten and the Pac-12 combined, which have won. Michigan State. Pac-12 hasn't had a champion since 1997 as a conference.
Yep.
UConn has 5 since then as a school. So I'm with you that they are a blue blood. I mean, you especially with the women's program and what they've done, how can you look at the last sample size of the last 25 years and not say that it is legit? They deserve to be in that conversation with a Duke or a Kansas or a Syracuse or Michigan State, North Carolina, Kentucky. They deserve to be in that conversation.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But we'll transition out of March Madness, which, again, was a fantastic tournament. Obviously, it's a little bit of a dead period for right now. I wouldn't say dead period. The Bucks are still making moves by going and getting Ryan Neal, the safety, which I'm sure you got to see a little bit of.
Right.
We're getting closer and closer to the draft, and I'm just trying to observe kind of the moves they've made. They've kind of shored up positions with a lot of cheap guys, and it's not like the Brady years where they've gotten these like veterans to kind of plug in holes. A lot of these guys are younger, they have more speed, they have more upside, and they got them on cheap deals. And I'm just sitting here wondering, because there's all this scuttlebutt about the quarterback position and everything, and they got to add at least one other quarterback to this room. So TJ Reeves, how do you feel about quarterback in round 1 potentially? Because, I mean, Will Levis, I think he's dropping. Hendon Hooker has put himself in the first round conversation. You see a scenario there?
I don't think it's a need in the first round. And you got needs. Maybe offensive line you got a need. Maybe linebacker you got a need. What are you doing long term? Yeah, you can't have enough of those. I don't see a need to take a quarterback in the first round. And I think the third guy could be another veteran. Maybe that's Blaine Gabbert coming back again. They're letting him float along because they're familiar with him, and you can't.
Ryan Griffin maybe comes back. Maybe Ryan Griffin comes back.
Griffin, but Ryan Griffin basically hasn't played even in a preseason game in 2 or 3 years. He's kind of transitioned kind of a little bit to de facto quarterback coach, de facto assistant quarterback coach. Kind of wants to go that way. But you can find another veteran to be there with Mayfield and with Trask. And I'm not so sure that first round pick isn't an offensive lineman again. Which Jason Light has hit with Tristan Wirfs previously. He's hit in the early second round with an Ali Marpet, or in the middle rounds as well. Luke Gedeke, the jury's still out on how effective can he be. He was a second round pick.
And what position he's going to play.
Right. Maybe they go back to offensive line. What are you doing long term at linebacker? Are you going to make a huge? And we don't know this answer. You're going to make a huge commitment to Devin White.
Right.
Lavonte David is not long term. Nope. You got this year, and that's maybe it.
Yep.
So do you look linebacker? As Jason said, pass rusher. They ran out of pass rushers last year. I think those are bigger needs right now than looking at a quarterback in the first round.
And here's the issue with Hendon Hooker. Taking him in the first round is great. He's 25 years old.
Oh.
And we're not sure that he'll be ready opening day.
He doesn't need to be, though.
He blew his In Tampa, if you're going to draft him as a 25-year-old rookie, you want him ready to go if you think he's going to be the guy in year one in the first round. I don't think you want to bring a third high draft pick into the room. Trask, another first-rounder in Mayfield.
And if you do that, look, they don't consult with me. I joke all the time on JP's show, and I make Nick laugh. I do not get to have coffee and donuts with Jason Light and the Glazers. They don't consult with me.
Do better, TJ. Come on now.
I will try. In 2023, I will try. But if you're doing that, you're basically saying Kyle Trask isn't the solution.
But I think they are. I think they know that. I think they know that.
You got it. Well, but at this point, you got to stay committed to let's find out if he can play. You drafted him in the second round. Let's find out this training camp, this preseason, and early on in the year.
4 games. You'll know after game 4 if he can play or not.
Well, right. And by the way, you're not committed long-term either to Baker Mayfield. Right. So you've got to come up with a solution. But to me, wait, get a veteran, wait on the court. There'll be quarterbacks next year in the draft as well. There'll be a free agency period next year as well. And maybe you make the decision that it is Trask or it is Baker Mayfield. And during this season, you give them a long-term deal, or after this season, you give them a long-term deal. But I think at this point, there's not an expectation that this is a Super Bowl team. No. This is not an expectation of a Super Bowl contending team. So now you're getting younger, like you mentioned. You get under the cap. You have a quarterback battle to find out what you have there. And then you proceed off of that of, do we need somebody else besides these two guys after this year? That's world according to TJ.
Yeah, and they're not. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender. I don't think anybody's going to tell you that. But I think they're actually being severely undervalued. I mean, if you go look at the Bovada odds right now to win, there's only 2 teams that are below the Bucs right now predicted wins, and that's the Cardinals and the Texans.
What do they have it at? Like 6.5, 5.5?
6.5. I refuse to believe that the Bucs are as bad as those teams, because look at the roster. Take the quarter. I know the quarterback is going to dictate what really happens here, but look at the roster. I would put this roster next to the Saints. I'd put it over the Falcons, and I put over the Panthers, and that's your division right there. Correct. I don't buy into this. That I understand the Saints are the leader right now because they have the best quarterback in Derek Carr, but I think the Bucs roster still stacks up with the Saints. I think they can win this division still.
And you get the bad AFC South as the AFC division. Now you are playing the Buffalo Bills as the 17th game because you won the division, and the opposite now is the AFC East
at Philadelphia, at San Francisco. That is not a pleasant.
Correct. And so that's not going to be easy. But you make a good point about the division and in the AFC South. I think you realistically look at this and say, can it be an 8-win season? Can you be 8-9? With the roster that you have, realistically, if the quarterback situation is solid, doesn't have to be spectacular, you can be an 8-win team. I know the expectations are higher to be a 10, 11, 12-win team, but let's be realistic right now. I think 6.5 is low with the stars you have, and it is a long season, so.
You have to find out this year what Kyle Trask can do one way or the other. This has to be a year, you've invested dollars. He sat behind Brady. We all talk about how much Brady teaches, you can learn from Brady studying. And I talked to a guy that played with Trask at Florida the other day, and he said this guy is ultra smart. Mm-hmm. When he gets an opportunity, he's not the most physically gifted quarterback. We understand that, but a new offensive system, a more balanced running game. I think if you can have that between Mayfield and Trask, I think you can figure out, to your point, Nick, I think you can be in division contention with those two guys, whichever way it ends up going. But I think you have to find out what Kyle Trask can do this year, because if not, it's a wasted pick if you don't.
And I think they have every intention of trying to find out. Where's the risk in trying to find out in July and August?
The risk is, I don't know. This is the big risk, and I think this is the big question mark, is I don't know about Todd Bowles. I don't know.
But he's going to be here this year.
He's going to be here this year. That's the risk, in my opinion. Is Todd Bowles, I think, might be coaching for his job.
Well, but by the same token here, he understands that that they've got to win some games, yes, but you don't have a Brady to step in that suddenly there's that option's not available to you, that suddenly makes you a 10 or 11 win contender. Right. So you've got to work with what you have under the cap. Like, for example, I was around some media people that were saying, well, will the Bucs get in the sweepstakes to get Lamar Jackson if they can? They don't have the money to do that.
Right.
This year and in the short-term commitment, they don't have the money to do it, even if they entertain the idea.
They got to pay the.
You got to work with what you have, and you can see, like you mentioned, through the pattern of what they've done. that they've shoehorned out a little bit of money at quarterback. It's
Right.
not a lot of money, and this is who you're going to go with, and you've got to try to win with.
And let me add, by the way, regardless of what we feel about the quarterback situation, I think Jason Licht has already overexceeded expectations in the offseason on two things.
Yes.
Getting Jamel Dean back when he could have gotten at least $4 to $5 million more annually, probably elsewhere, but he wanted to come back. He wanted to play under Todd Bowles. So that's number one. And Levante David. Levante David making the decision that I want to retire as a Buck. I'll take a pay cut, $7 million. How many linebackers are better than Levante David in the league still? He's going to make $7 million to come back here. To me, those moves already solidified that Jason Licht overexceeded in what I thought was his toughest offseason job to date.
And you had some hard goodbyes, but I know what you mean. That you're able to make this work, and you've built a culture now where some guys want to be here, and Levante David is a big part of that culture. And so now you move forward, you get younger here with the draft, you get under the cap a little bit, and let's see what happens. And I was just thinking of this, just one more point. Dave Canales, obviously, in what was supposed to be a really bad Seahawks season, worked with Geno Smith and got that situation to at least be good, if not pretty good. Now, ultimately, these are the facts. Geno Smith wasn't very good as the year went on in the month of December and into January. He was just okay at times. But still, everybody thought Seattle was going to be like a 4 or 5 win team, and they end up making the playoffs. And the same guy that was the quarterback's coach is now here to work with Trask and Mayfield. So I think there can be some confidence with that. Sure.
Yeah, and I think his modern take on the game is going to help wonders coming out of the Byron Leftwich era. So I'm a little bit more optimistic.
And we've talked about this on your show. We got plenty of time to keep illuminating this, and you'll see it in July and August. Kyle Trask is big. He's bigger than Mayfield and can move some. And Mayfield is tremendous on the RPO and being able to run around. And that opens up a lot of the stuff that you haven't been able to do the last 3 years. You take the trade-off. Tom Brady was amazing. You won the Super Bowl. But now you have a different type of quarterback, 2 of them that you can do some things with movement and moving them around. And that'll be fascinating to watch.
Does Tristan Wirfs go to left tackle?
Great question. Tristan Wirfs' agent, his bank account, and his money want him to be at left tackle because that's where you get paid in the right-handed quarterback world. I don't know. Do they draft a left tackle? That could be out there. Do they say, we want to guarantee that the right side is always locked down with Tristan Wirfs? Again, his agent, his people want him to move over about 10 feet to left tackle. I get that. But do they, Bucks, take the approach? Jason Licht takes the approach, the organization. We have it locked down right there at right tackle. Now let's draft a left tackle. Or do they go ahead and say, he's going to be the left tackle that we're going to pay
for the next 10 years?
A long time, for the next 10 years. Now, is Luke Gedeke the right tackle? Is Robert Hainsey the right tackle? Do they draft a right tackle? Stay tuned.
Yeah, I think barring them drafting a left tackle, if one of these top guys falls to them at 19, that you stick Wirfs at left tackle. This guy can do it. Come on. There's no need to debate if this guy can do it or not. I know he can. And Gedeke, I mean, Todd Bowles said at the owners' meetings the other week that Luke Gedeke is going to start somewhere on this line. He didn't say where, but he said somewhere. I'd be willing to bet that's not left guard.
Just to interject, it was not an accident that Luke Gedeke played a whole half at right tackle in the Atlanta game.
Exactly, and that's what he played.
Let's see how he looks. How does it look in the NFL compared to how he looks at left guard? Yes.
Yeah, that's what he played at Central Michigan that made him a second-round pick. People forget that, and then you slid him all the way across the line. You're doing completely opposite of everything you've been doing before. It's a step up in competition, obviously, from Central Michigan to the NFL. Week 1, protecting Tom Brady. Yikes. He's not going to be at left guard. I think we could have confidence in that, but I don't have any problem with that. Sticking Wirfs at left and putting Gedeke at right and see what happens. Because like you said, having the ability to run the RPOs and a mobile quarterback, I think that's going to hide maybe some of this offensive line's deficiencies that just Tom Brady just couldn't.
And Ryan Jensen being back is such a catalyst in the middle there. He is the quarterback of that line. That line will improve 15% with just him being there. The rest of, with his presence, his nastiness. Again, we all know how nasty.
I'm loving the optimism on FanStream JP on a Thursday. I got so much to look forward to.
I'm stealing some for you.
We got the Rays undefeated. We got the Buck draft coming up. We got the Masters on. Like, the only downer is, again, what the Rangers did to the Lightning, and hopefully they snap back out of it.
And this is your fault, by the way, TJ, because I saw what you put on Twitter.
Yes.
You only get to watch like 4 games a year.
Exactly.
And they've lost. Have they lost every single one?
I don't know if they lost every single one of them, but I mean, we turned that game on because of Hulu And Brother Powers is feeling me because, like, you're on YouTube TV, you're telling me. We don't get to see the games unless they're on national TV because of this disaster with Bally's.
Yep.
Which the whole capper on that is now they're not paying the teams. Now you've had the games not on everywhere, and now we're not going to pay the teams the rights fees. Okay, beautiful. But we don't get to see them that often. And we turn that game on, and it's 2-0, 3-0 before we get settled in. And I kid you not, the twins, my almost 15-year-olds, are now watching Survivor on CBS at the same time instead of the game. Now, luckily, they got back in the game, and I watched the last period and a half or so. Hopefully it'll be better for the playoffs, and the playoffs are a different animal. We'll see. But, man, that was not good. They had been playing better. I mean, I was keeping up with it while in the Houston in the Final Four. They had been playing better as of late. Yep. Let's hope they snap back out of it here at the end of the regular season, the Lightning.
Yeah, then I think they played better than what the 6-3 scoreline probably indicated yesterday. Shesterkin made a lot of really good saves. They kind of turned into one of those bloodbath type playoff games where I feel like they just wanted to hit somebody, both teams.
And that had a playoff type feel. You're right. With the fights and all that stuff, it was interesting. And now
it was entertaining. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot to love in Tampa Bay right now. And of course, you mentioned the Rays 6-0, which I don't know if you heard this stat. We had it this morning. Yeah. This is the best start in Major League Baseball history since 1884, TJ Reeves. How about that?
So what do you mean by best start? Because other teams have been 6-0.
They're the first team to start out 6-0 with scoring or outscoring.
Winning every game by 4+ runs. Winning every game by 4+ runs since 1884.
The St. Louis Maroons, TJ, if you know what the St. Louis Maroons are.
I am not sure. It's not the Pat Maroons.
Right.
But that's I'm thinking that's going back a ways, and nobody covered that team. You just got to look in the history books at what they did. That's impressive so far. And look, I realize it's level of competition because you guys were mentioning Oakland coming in, and then the Red Sox are bad. They just got swept by the Pirates. So I realize level of competition may have something to do with it. But, hey, get off to a good start. Get off to a good April. Stay in contention. Keep the optimism going. It's a long season.
A cushion.
And I can tell you this. I was in the building for opening day. I love going. Opening day, again, like, is just one of the most beautiful things. It's always perfect. And I was in the building. And I could tell you just from being in there, in general, from a fan experience, the organization going above and beyond, which they haven't, let's be honest, they haven't done always before in the past. They have a reputation. It felt different. There's a different energy to the fan base, I think, this year of being invested in this team. They had a record turnout for a weekend, I think, at the Trop this past weekend for all 3 games. I think they had 65,000 combined for all 3 games. I hope they keep it up here when Oakland gets here. And, of course, the team puts on a product like that. I think right now this is such a fun team to watch in general.
Real quick, TJ, before you go, the Rays are on the clock. Rob Manfred made it very apparent here. I heard an interview with him this week. He wants a decision with Oakland and Tampa Bay and their stadium situation sooner rather than later. So the Rays are on the clock as far as getting something done one way or another with this stadium deal.
Let's hope so, because it's gone on like 3 or 4 years longer than it should have. And I know JP has been banging the drum, and Nick, you've been right there on all these shows for the last 2 or 3 years. The idiocy, that's the word that I will use, that we're going to have a split season between Tampa and Montreal and waste everybody's time and anger everybody in this area with the suggestion of it. And then, come back to, please help us pay for the stadium to be here the full time. But let's hope that it does get worked out. Why do I get the feeling we've not seen or heard the last of the squabbling back and forth about where to put it? And but if the product on the field continues to be good, look, I'm just like you. I buy tickets. I go see them. I don't go on media passes. I go see them over in St. Petersburg. So I don't want to hear people complain about the drive, because I drive again from Northwest Hillsborough County and go and make the drive with the twins, with my father, with whomever, and go to games. It would be much more convenient for a whole lot of people if they didn't have to drive to St. Petersburg and they're driving to Hillsborough County. You'd have bigger crowds. I mean, I was saying to somebody yesterday, and I know you got to go in a second, that if these games this weekend were in Hillsborough County, you would have 10,000 or more people at them than what you're going to have at the Trop. Unfortunately, they're not going to have 30. They're not going to have 25, and they may not have 20 at any of those games. But you can't convince me with the start they're off to and the fan base that's around greater Hillsborough County, greater Tampa,
even Lakeland,
you wouldn't have the bigger crowd.
You get the
Lakeland, and you don't have that right now because you walked away from your own stadium deal 2 or 3 years ago. The stadium would have been built by now, probably.
Yeah, and by the way, other than the fact that they're a really good baseball team, star power. This isn't just a group of ragtag individuals anymore. Wander Franco is a star.
Yes.
Randy Arozarena is a star. Shane McClanahan is. people should be lining up to go watch Shane McClanahan at this rotation pitch. Because it's awesome. I was there for it. It's awesome. You want to be there. And I think absolutely. I mean, I come from Lithia all the time to go see the games, and I got no problem with it because I'm a diehard. I'll go see it, but I understand that there's people that just aren't gonna do that. I understand that. So we agree that something needs
keep winning, and let's see if they get something done with that. Listen, always good to be with you guys on all these subjects. The update is Tiger is even through 2, playing the 3rd.
I'll take
see what happens with the Masters.
Who's your Masters pick? Give me a pick.
I have been saying John Rahm. It would be interesting if it's a live golf guy. If it's a Dustin Johnson, if it's a Patrick Reed, somebody like that for the controversy, if they are contending.
What if Phil Mickelson was ever in contention Sunday?
Get ready if he is. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch all that unfold. You boys be well. I'm glad we have proof of life of JP out on the ski slopes and elsewhere. He'll be back soon. Glad you two are holding down the fort. You boys be well.
Absolutely, TJ. Thank you for joining us here on a TJ Thursday. Be well.
Friends.
Yeah, boys.
Friends.
Oh, good stuff. I love it. That's why you have TJ on.
You can talk anything.
We just went like 40 minutes with TJ. We went all over the map. I think we made it great. So fantastic stuff there from TJ, and we'll have him on next week as well to go over some more stuff. Maybe some more Bucks news that comes out as well.
Draft 3 weeks away.
Draft 3 weeks
today.
away. It's 3 weeks away. I'm very excited.
Tonight.
But we'll take a break here on the JP Peterson Show. We'll come back. We'll get into that Lightning game last night, a 6-3 loss to New York up there in Madison Square Garden, and we'll also go over the Masters as well. We have some betting information for you, and we're going to give you a little recap of what's going on. I'm going to turn it on to my laptop right now because I need to start watching my Tiger shots.
Masters.org. The app is a great app. Download the Masters app. It's a great app.
That's where I'm going right now. So we'll be back here on a JP Peterson Show. Stick with us.
For the Gold and Diamond Source, there is no better place to shop for jewelry than the Gold and Diamond Source. We know that. They are the family jewelers, and they will treat you like family. It's always a fun experience. Just head on over there. You will not find a better selection anywhere in the world. It's a jewelry super center. They've got engagement rings, necklaces, earrings, pendants, chains, and thousands of diamonds to choose from. They're all right there. They don't have to ship anything in. They have jewelry for every price range as well. Guys, if you're looking for some of those baller watches, they have a great selection. They have new and used. You can get some great collectibles there as well. And if you're looking for some more affordable gold and diamond jewelry, you have to check out the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Emily created this collection for people who want to wear and stack elaborate jewelry but don't want to pay the big ticket prices. You got to check this stuff out. The Golden Diamond Source has plenty of options to accommodate any budget, interest-free financing for up to 5 years, and a layaway program, 20% down and only 6 monthly payments. And this month only, get up to 15% off the March birthstone, which is aquamarine. Like we always say, keep it local, folks. The Golden Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub, such great philanthropic benefactors. So let's keep it all local here when we have the opportunity, right? It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. Scott, 3 loans for me, done thousands. A lot of the coaches and players in the area, he's the guy. 813-294-7595 or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by. Never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to jeeveslawgroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to jeeveslawgroup.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, a Thursday edition of the JP Peterson Show. Nick Geddes alongside Jason Powers filling in for JP. And we're going to get into now our Tampa Bay Lightning for what we saw last night. And again, we just got TJ Reeves on. Encourage you to check that conversation out. Talking March Madness, the Bucks, the Rays, we did it all with TJ, as we always do. A jack of all trades he is. But we're going to get deeper into the Lightning last night. A 6-3 defeat to the Rangers in Madison Square Garden, coming off a little bit of a 3-day layoff. I thought the boys would be a bit more rested and would have a better outcome than what they had last night. Now, I don't think they got outplayed necessarily as bad as 6-3 would indicate. The first period, certainly, you go down 3-1. I think Vasilevsky was a little soft on some of those goals. Maybe it was a little too easy for New York at times.
Was he out at Studio 54 the night before?
He might have been. So, the big cats have got a party.
Man.
You know,
I mean,
the big cats have got a party. I mean, and then they're in for 2 nights, and they're only in they're in the city for that night. And then they got to go to Long Island after. So I understand it's a back-to-back, but I thought last night maybe you'd get a little bit better. But Shesterkin, that's a world-class goalie on the other side of Vasilevsky. No taking away from that. My thing with last night's game, though, it became a bloodbath, I guess. Now, I don't know if any blood was actually shed, but it might have been pretty close to that. I mean, Pat Maroon sets the tone early with the fight. We have Perry gets sticked down low, and I don't know if he probably was playing a little theatrics a little bit. It's Corey Perry.
Little World Cup soccer.
A little bit. Corey Perry's made a career out of that, but he scored 450 goals too in his career. So, but that happens, and then it's 3-1, and Hagel scores. Right, the puck is in the net. It's kind of sitting on top of Shesterkin, who's sitting in the net. He starts to kind of come out of his crease a little bit. There's been no whistle. Here comes Killorn from the other end of the ice. He thinks it's a free play, which it is, and he puts his stick in there into Shesterkin. And I think you know where he put it, by the way. And Shesterkin falls. He grabs his head, by the way, which I think is ironic. I don't know why you're grabbing your head for, making it look a lot worse, but it goes crazy. If they did it to Vasilevsky, the Lightning were going to respond as well, but that started it.
Here comes the brigade as soon as you mess with the goalie.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Lightning would do the same thing as they should.
Yeah.
But then you got Ross Colton. It was a clean hit later in the game in the second period, rather. And then Ross Colton goes after Mott, I believe, or Lindgren, rather. And then but that was a bad play by Colton because then you put your team back on the penalty kill. Right. You were already losing that game. But then the third period came and the Lightning I thought they just ran out of gas.
They did. They were just, as TJ was mentioning, I saw probably half of the second period, most of the third period. Got to give the Rangers credit. What a play by Zibanejad on the crawl between the legs.
Oh, yeah.
To make it 5-3.
World-class play.
I mean, that's just world class. And if you're the Lightning, I mean, I hate to say this, but you know who you're pretty much going to play. Mm-hmm. You're trying to get to the end of the regular season here. You know the focus is not what it's going to be a week and a half from now. Yeah. As far as the intensity level, is there a thought in the back of these guys' heads? Let's just don't get hurt. Let's figure out a way to stay healthy.
They didn't act like it last night.
I agree, but the Kucherovs and the Stamkos and those guys, you got your thought process has got to be avoid major contact, avoid the situation where you can get yourself in trouble physically. Let's just get to the playoffs.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's like we went to this conversation in March. Now, they played the most games of anybody in March. They went through a lot of struggles. Defensively, they couldn't find their structure, got away from their game. But the last 4 games, starting with Boston last weekend, they found something.
Right.
And when you give up 3 goals in 4 games, it's pretty good.
It is.
It's pretty good, by the way. And that Vasilevsky guy, he was pretty good in those games as well. So that's why I thought last night might have been a little different because the Lightning were coming in with some positive momentum.
Yep.
Where I felt New York was searching coming to this one. Patrick Kane didn't even play yesterday. He's day-to-day. We'll see what happens there.
Here's a great stat I heard last night in the game. Since the Rangers acquired Tarasenko from St. Louis, who we know has Stanley Cup, championship medal, big player for St. Louis, they're the leading scoring team in the Eastern Conference since they've acquired Tarasenko.
Yeah.
So they can score. Zibanejad, Kreider, Tarasenko with the goalie Shesterkin. That's a good team over there.
It's a really good team, and there's a reason why they were in the Eastern Conference Final against this Tampa Bay Lightning team. Yep. And can we get a rematch of that? After what I saw last night, I'm salivating over a potential matchup again of the rematch because now we have some actual blood between these two teams. They don't like each other.
Right.
That's been established. I think that started last year in the playoffs. It's carried over to this year. You always get a very tight matchup between these two teams, and you got that last night. But yeah, the Lightning to me, and Cooper I think said this after the game, that they played really well in the second period. And, they got it within 4-3. Remember, they were down 3-0.
Yep.
And they had to battle last night to get that game back in order. And then they kind of started taking some silly penalties. I mean, right after they got it to 3-2, 20 seconds later, New York scores with Mott on a bad read by Sergachev. And so they just kind of felt like they kind of were chasing the game.
Defensive stability to me is going to be the key for the Lightning in the playoffs. Yeah. If they don't have to be great on defense, but you can't be just
lackadaisical.
Right. Don't give up too much of the ice. I mean, because I saw a couple of rushes where the Ranger guy with the puck just went basically end to end with no resistance.
It was a little easy in the first period.
Yeah, just no resistance, and that's the part where. We know the Lightning are going to score goals for the most part. I mean, most games. And, I think Vasilevsky, I think we all have full confidence in him come playoff time. It's the defenseman. Can the defenseman play consistently and just play solid defense? Don't have to be doing anything special. Do your job, the old Bill Belichick line.
Yeah, and I think the Lightning will probably end up doing that. They have a great ability to flip a switch, if you will. When we get to postseason time, I'm not betting against Andrei Vasilevsky in a series before this. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to fall in that trap. But
this is an Armageddon series coming up for Toronto.
Yes.
The whole operation is going to get blown up.
As it is every year.
But ultimately they're going to blow it up if they lose in the first round this year. That whole thing's going to get blown up in Toronto.
It has to. Now, part of that is because of the playoff format is just.
I don't like it either.
This is probably the worst playoff format in sports.
Yeah, right, I agree.
Because the Atlantic Conference always is going to have Tampa Bay, Boston, and Toronto.
Right.
And so one of those
teams.
It's not fair. It's really not.
It's just it's not fair.
And listen, I was always taught that the only thing that's like a fair is a place where you go to ride rides. That's what I was always told growing up. So I understand sports is not fair most of the time.
Right.
But unfortunately, if it's going to be this way, where these three teams are dominating a conference, in Florida, you throw them in there the last few years, you've had 4 deep in this conference for the last 5 years, and 2 of them go home in the first round every year.
Right. And the thing is, they're all in big media markets, so those teams are never going to tank. Those teams are always going to attempt to go for it from a putting your roster together and your organization together.
That's the beautiful thing, though. When the Lightning get to play at Toronto, they have no pressure.
Yeah,
they have no pressure.
No.
They can just play.
Right.
And I'm not saying they're going to hang their hat on the fact that they've won 2 Stanley Cups and been to 3, but as a fan, you can at least go, well, I still have that.
Right.
Toronto's got nothing to go back to.
Right.
0 playoff series wins since 2004. That's always going to linger over them with the talent they have. So I still think the Lightning are in great shape when we get there. And obviously tonight they're back at it at 7:30. They're back on Bally's tonight against the New York Islanders. And the Islanders are holding steady there for that final playoff spot, a point above Pittsburgh at the moment with 4 games remaining.
Yep.
So I think they're going to get a
game. They're going to get a desperate Islanders team.
Exactly. They're going to get a very desperate Islanders team. You're probably going to get Brian Elliott tonight, by the way.
Right.
So
which is smart.
So again, this is probably one of those games we'll all into that theory. Nobody get hurt. Just play your game and see what happens.
Don't be stupid. Just play smart. If we win, great. If we don't win, it ain't the end of the world.
Yep. Let's go to Cooper from last night. He spoke with the media after the game, and like I said, I don't think he was as disappointed with his performance as the scoreline showed.
From tonight. We battled. It was you're down 3-0 8 minutes into the game, and by the time we get in here after the second, it's 4-3, and we easily could have been up. So I like that. Kind of it's tough at the end because Cirelli left the game in the second. Colton's pretty much done for the game because of the penalties. So penalties got in trouble, and then we ran out of gas. That was it.
Do you like obviously, we've been talking about the physicality that you guys can play. Is there a fine line there between that and
No.
taking some of the penalties? I mean, you're okay with it?
Sometimes it happens. I don't know. Obviously, we don't think all these are penalties all the time, but at times you're going to get them, and you got to kill them off. Probably took 2 too many tonight, but like I said, our start, you're down 3-0 to anybody in this league 8 minutes in. It's going to be tough to come back.
So it did almost come back, right? And you just addressed it. Take that right into tomorrow and just keep going.
We're going to, again, let's, there was a lot to build on in the game tonight, but in the end, you just can't let bad habits creep into your game just because you're not going anywhere in the standings, and it's a 4-3 game in the end. Like I said, we just ran out of gas. Hopefully, we're going to be a little bit better tomorrow.
Yeah, he said it there. I mean, when you know who you're playing, bad habits may try to creep in a little bit.
We know where we are in the standings. That's a sign for let's get to the finish line here. Let's just.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Stay
upright. Stay upright and get to the finish line.
Nobody's panicking.
No.
Nobody's panicking. That's the beauty of it. Is it's a 6-3 game, and you look at the scoreline, and you might want to freak out a little bit, but not with this team.
You don't like 3-0 in the first 8 minutes. That's
I
probably
don't.
the part you don't like.
No.
After that, they played pretty well.
No, I hate whenever there's a big game on like a national TV like that.
Yeah.
And everybody has to see it, right? That's the thing that bothers me. And then for last night, when it's a big game like that, I try to get my stuff all in order for this game. I like to get prepped up. I want to be ready right in front of the TV. Yeah. And then before I can even finish my dinner, it's 3-0.
Yeah.
And that's when I go, okay, this night stinks.
Right.
This night stinks. But the Lightning will get it figured out, no doubt about that. Let's take another break, and when we'll come back, we will go over to Augusta and break down the Masters, some betting information that you want to bring to the table. We'll do that. I got Tiger right in front of me right now.
That's right.
We'll give you an update on him.
I saw some fans ducking on your screen. Fans were ducking the shots or some wayward shots.
Yeah, we're going to get into it all when we get back with the Masters. Stay with us here on the JP Peterson Show here on a Thursday.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Hey guys, JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. There is no better place to shop for jewelry than the Gold and Diamond Source. We know that. They are the family jewelers, and they will treat you like family. It's always a fun experience. Just head on over there. You will not find a better selection anywhere in the world. It's a jewelry super center. They've got engagement rings, necklaces, earrings, pendants, chains, and thousands of diamonds to choose from. They're all right there. You don't have to ship anything in. They have jewelry for every price range as well. Guys, if you're looking for some of those baller watches, they have a great selection. They have new and used. You can get some great collectibles there as well. And if you're looking for some more affordable gold and diamond jewelry, you have to check out the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Emily created this collection for people who want to wear and stack elaborate jewelry but don't want to pay the big ticket prices. You got to check this stuff out. The Golden Diamond Source has plenty of options to accommodate any budget, interest-free financing for up to 5 years, and a layaway program, 20% down and only 6 monthly payments. And this month only, get up to 15% off the March birthstone, which is aquamarine. Like we always say, keep it local, folks. The Golden Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub, such great philanthropic benefactors. So let's keep it all local here when we have the opportunity, right? It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to lose weight or just lean up for bathing suit season where there are so many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there? You don't know where to start, right? We'll start at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and will help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently. Many of these other approaches are designed for the masses. So how's that going to work for you specifically? It's not. Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you so the weight comes off safely without the use of harmful drugs and side effects. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on a Thursday. Moving along here. About 30 minutes left today. Been hitting the Rays pretty hard. We just hit the Lightning pretty hard, the Bucks, but now we want to go out to Augusta. It is Masters Week. It's one of the best weekends, like I said, of the year when you get the Masters. All the pageantry to it. Last year was fantastic because we had the return of Tiger.
Right.
And I'll be damned if I didn't sit down for all 4 days and watch every single shot. because I had no life and I had nothing else to do with it, and so I decided just to watch Tiger's shots. I have tuned into it now because he's playing again, and we're on Tiger Watch. We're always on Tiger Watch, and the update there right now is he is 1 over on 5, which is the third toughest hole, I believe, and he's on the green at the moment. So 1 over for Tiger through 5, which is, I guess, is an okay start. The leaders are at 2 under.
Yep. Sergio, Victor Hovland, Schauffele, Adam Scott are all at 2 under.
Yep.
So some big names that we know.
Some past Master winners in there, and a live guy up top the leaderboard.
Yep. That's one of the big narratives we're going to talk about is the live PGA duel that's going on.
And I can't help myself for the life of me. I know it's the Masters, but I can't help myself. The live storyline is actually my favorite thing this year. Actually, it's honestly not Tiger this year. Last year it was Tiger's return. I don't want to say he's a footnote. He's never going to be a footnote, right? But he's secondary in my mind actually this year. I can't keep my eye off these live guys.
No, that's gonna be the storyline all weekend. And as a sports fan, we're both sports fans. Do we want to see a big live guy in a Rory McIlroy in the final group on Sunday coming down the back nine? I mean,
well, I wish somebody would have put these guys together in the opening pairings.
Well, I think Augusta did that on purpose, not to do that, because they didn't want the because Augusta, the tournament and the patrons are the they want the golf to be the story, not necessarily live versus the PGA Tour.
Well, okay, that's true, but I bring this example to you about controversy creates buzz, and my best example.
Masters doesn't need any more buzz. They got
I want all the buzz. I want all the buzz. Okay, I want it. What it can always be better.
Well,
it can always be better, and if you put Phil and Rory as a pairing,
the buzz will be created Saturday and Sunday if your live guys play well enough to be at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah,
that's where the buzz will get. Sure, do we want buzz on Thursday, Friday? We really want the buzz Saturday and Sunday.
We do. And I'm trying to. I don't know how well these live guys are going to play here. Like, listen, I was pro live when it started, only in the sense of if you want to get your money, whatever, do you. Like everybody cuts their own deal in life, make your own decisions. I had no problem with that. My problem was mostly with Greg Norman because I just felt like this was all his vendetta against the PGA Tour, and he just wanted to uproot it. It was never about growing the game of golf.
Mickelson's a big part of this, too.
Mickelson has put himself as the face of this as well, but it's not about growing the game of golf, by the way. And Harold Varner, I don't know if you saw his comments.
No.
He pretty inflammatory. He's a live golfer, and he even said yesterday that, and he cursed a little bit. He's like, this shit about growing the game and all that is garbage. We're all here because we wanted to make more money.
Right.
So stop lying to everybody. And that's interesting that he said that. But that's the truth, so that's why. But I tried to give Liv a shot. I watched it on the CW for about 20 minutes, and my takeaway was that's not golf. That was my takeaway.
It's a totally different way of playing. I mean, remember they're only playing 54 holes.
Yeah.
They're not all starting on 1 and finishing on 18. They start at different spots on the course, which is goofy.
Music playing on the greens.
Yeah. I mean, it's a payday. I mean, say what you want.
Yes.
It's a payday, and God, everybody has their opinion of where the money's coming from, and the Saudi Arabian money and all that stuff. There's an argument made on that front. But one thing you can't deny is the PGA Tour has made some massive changes to their structures of tournaments. Some of them are no-cut tournaments now. They've actually pumped in a bunch more money into some of these tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to guarantee, I think, everybody that's on the tour with their card X number of dollars per year, like a couple $100,000 kind of deal. So the LIV has made some inroads with how the PGA Tour has administered their tour.
And even Rory, who's as against this as anybody, has admitted that, by the way.
Yeah.
That it's helped the PGA Tour out. So, but I'm interested to see how they play because, I mean, the courses they're playing at, let's not act like they're playing at TPCs or any.
They're not.
They're not. They're not playing at Bay Hill or even the Copper. They're not. So I don't know how it's going to help them here. I know Koepka, who's in this event, won last week in Orlando. So let's see if he gets his game back. I believe there's like 8 or 9 LIV guys in the field, maybe.
18.
There's 18 actually. 18. Oh, I'm thinking of the guys that were at the Masters dinner. That's what it was.
6 former winners are LIV guys.
Yeah.
Yep. So I wonder how that went on Tuesday night. Kind of the tension in that room.
I saw the stories yesterday that Phil was really quiet.
Yeah, right.
Did not say a word.
Right.
Like even when people went up to him, he just would give like a nod, and that was it. You saw the photo. He was all the way in the back corner, which Phil doesn't look healthy, by the way. I don't know what this has done to him, but he does not look like Phil Mickelson.
Right.
I don't expect him to be in play this weekend.
Right.
truthfully, I don't expect Tiger Woods to be in play this weekend.
If the weather was better, I thought Tiger could potentially be in the play. But with the weather turning bad, ugly, Friday afternoon, Saturday-ish especially, and maybe Sunday, I think Saturday is going to be – it's going to be hard for Tiger to withstand the weather issues because it's going to be like 50 degrees, rain, and – those of us that are a little older than you, Nick, when your knees start aching and when it's cold, and
I like playing in the cold.
And you're walking on a wet grass, that's not great for the joints.
Nope.
So, and obviously Tiger, we know the issues he's already still having currently with it, even when it's a perfect day out.
It's a tough course to walk.
Oh, it's a brutal course to walk from all indications. But yeah, you ever been to the Masters?
It still has eluded me. It still has eluded me. I did see the line for the merch this morning, and they're expected to do $70 million in merchandise sales this weekend.
But yet, it's funny how the merchandise is so overpriced.
Oh.
But yet the food and the drinks are cheap as
little
can be.
$1 pimento cheese sandwich.
You can eat for $6 or $7 at the Masters, but you buy a T-shirt and it's $48.
Yeah. Yeah. And
crazy, man.
It's definitely crazy, but it's still a great event. I think the only live guy that I would honestly give a shot this weekend is Cam Smith. He finished second in this tournament last year to Scotty Scheffler, if you recall. He kind of had a little bit of a meltdown, I believe, last year at the end, or Scheffler took it away from him. I recall that. I think he's a world-class golfer. He's the one guy that I wish was still on the PGA Tour because he's so fun to watch. I think he's one to watch this weekend in general, but this is why I just don't think Tiger can compete. There's too many elite players on this tour right now that are younger, that right now the consistency for them, like John Rahm, you mentioned, is your favorite to win this week.
No, that's TJ's guy.
Right, that's TJ's shot. Who was your favorite this weekend?
My guy, I got a couple guys highlighted on my sheet over here. I like, from a gambling perspective, I like Schauffele, who's in the mix. Schauffele's at 2 under. I like JT, and I'm gonna go Jordan Spieth.
Ooh.
Masters number 2.
He finished it off.
Jordan Spieth, and you got Rory trying to get the Grand Slam.
Yep.
He needs the Masters for the Grand Slam. I think he's playing really well. I think he'll be in the mix for sure. Whether he can win or not, we'll see. But my pick is going to be Jordan Spieth.
Interesting. By the way, Tiger, I have to put this in here. Tiger Woods just missed a par putt from 4 feet out.
Yep.
It was not pretty. So Tiger Woods is 2 over now.
Yep. So that's not a good sign on a day like today, when it's nice weather, perfect weather. And remember, folks, he hasn't played a competitive round in a while. He played the LA Open not too long ago, and from all indications, his caddy said yesterday, Joey LaCava, said he really struggled physically.
Yeah, I don't know how you do this whole part-time golf thing. It just seems impossible to me.
It is.
Like
to be at a world-class level.
Yes, and to try to compete. And I know he says he won't join a tournament unless he thinks he can win.
Right.
I think that's more than anything him trying to convince himself that he can do it, and it riles up everybody. Everybody wants to got to rush to the TV to see Tiger.
Right.
The goal for him, as always, at this point, is make the cut. Just let me see the Sunday red.
Yeah.
I think play the hits. I'll call it play the hits. Tiger Woods, play the hits. That's kind of where we're at this point with him. But there's too many other guys in this field. You mentioned some of them. I mean, Scotty Scheffler. Number 1 player in the world, defending Masters champion. He's been locked in this season as well.
He's just so even-keeled, low-key, doesn't want all the attention.
Yep.
Just a baller. In term of a sports term, he's a baller, man.
Yep.
The guy just goes out and does his thing, and great.
I know. I hate to say that he's my favorite player on tour because he's the number 1 player on tour, but it has more to do than just his golf game.
Yeah.
I like it. I love everything he stands for. Like you said, he's so low-key. It's like he seems like he's just having a fun time. Like he's not worrying about anything.
You know what's sitting in his driveway? A car with 200,000 miles on it.
I love
10-year-old car.
I love that.
As much money as he's made in the last couple of years, probably made $50 million in the last couple of years, has a 10-year-old car with 200,000 miles in his driveway.
Yeah, and
I respect that.
I respect that. I remember last year, I think he grabbed everybody because of the composure he showed last year at the Masters, right, when he was just on an absolute tear, and then his wife was there watching him. She goes to every event with him and is there. I think that's what makes him very likable.
Yeah.
Take the fact out that he's the best golfer in the world.
Been dating her since high school.
Been dating her since high school. I can respect that. I mean, I've been dating my wife since high school.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I respect anybody who makes it through that. So I love his odds this week, but it should be a good time. But I will say, though, if I actually am low-key rooting for a live guy to win because I just want to see what happens. Greg Norman promised that all the players are going to come out and they're going to do some kind of celebration.
And by the way, how about the chairman, Fred Ridley, by the way, who's a Tampa guy.
Yep.
He played in the Masters 3 times as an amateur, but he's a Tampa guy. He's a Tampa law firm. He's the chairman of Augusta. Said they didn't invite Greg Norman this week to Augusta.
Well, Greg Norman doesn't deserve the invite. He's only come 2 of the last 10 years. Right. He always gets an invite. Right. I don't know his whole gripe with the PGA Tour.
Right.
I'm not going to begin to understand what it is. I mean, it's his fault that
I think a lot of it had to do with back in the day when Norman was elite. About they would not let him go play in certain events around the world because he contractually was he was affiliated with the PGA Tour, and there was some of that kind of stuff I think involved in that. And I think and you hate to say it, the proof is in the pudding that the PGA Tour kind of had been holding down some of the revenue opportunities for the players, because you see now all of a sudden the purse strings are wide open and they're spending boatloads of money on prize money for some of these other events that they weren't spending in years past prior to Live.
I don't disagree with the mission. I can't stand the way that he's gone about
it. You're right, and who he's affiliated with, and that's the other part of this is who's financing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as caught up necessarily. Because it just. If we want to go down that route, you can go down the route of oil. Where do we get oil from, right?
You're right.
And all these other things, and it's kind of a double. I see it as almost as a double standard, and it's like if we're not going to raise hell over this, then why am I going to do it over here? That's the life.
True that.
That's
agree.
the world.
I agree, but it's
Greg Norman. It's just the way it's just when he talks.
Right.
I'm just going to be honest. It's
and
just
Mickelson
when he talks.
Too. Mickelson's been
Mickelson too. I'm not saying this has tarnished Mickelson's legacy.
It has.
I mean, in the eyes of a lot of people, it has. But he's still the second greatest golfer of this generation.
Right.
I'm not going to forget the moment he gave us at Kiowa 2 years ago. I hate that's overshadowed it, though. We forgot about that moment at Kiowa now, and I think it's going to be lost forever. I hope for a reconciliation at some point. Yeah, and at least they can all come together for these. Because it doesn't seem like the players really – like they keep saying it. There's no bad blood between these players. Right. I'm sure just between a few.
Right.
But, I mean, DeChambeau said Tiger Woods has defriended him now.
Back in the day, you're Will this turn into an AFL-NFL merger kind of situation? You know how the AFL kind of split off from the NFL back in the 60s?
Yep.
USFL, back in the early 80s, the USFL tried to create a league. I wonder if at some point there's some kind of merger or understanding or agreement that allows those guys to come back to the PGA Tour, because right now those guys are suspended for forever. They can't.
And if they want to get out of their live contracts, it's going to cost them personally 3 to 4 times their sign-on. So, for example, Brooks Koepka reported $100 million. If he wants to get out,
and he ain't paying $400 million.
He ain't paying $300-400 million to get out.
Right, that ain't.
It's not happening. So they're kind of they made their bed and they lie in it, and it is what it is. But
it will be interesting to see what the Live Tour is a year or so from now if none of these guys win a major. Because that's what's going to give them the credibility is if one of these Live guys win a major, or one of these two, especially this year, win a major or two. Or do the TV ratings improve? Do the turnout? Do the course quality improve? Are they able to draw more guys from the PGA Tour to join the Live Tour? So this next year or so for Live is going to be critical to see the viability.
We'll see what I think. Cam Smith, like I said, has the best shot to win the Masters this week because I think he's by far the best player on Live. I do. But I don't know if I'm going to pick him this week. Ironically, he just came on my screen. I'm not saying it because he just came on my screen. But this guy in majors seems to always be in the mix. Right. Cameron Young, I don't know where he's at on the odds makers list at all. I'm not sure.
Yep, he's low. Cam Young is the leader now at 3 under.
He's 3 under. He just sunk a putt here.
He's kind of a newcomer in the last year or so on the tour. He's had a really good last year or so on the tour. Played really well. Hasn't played in very many majors, but again,
he's always in the mix every time I turn it on.
Yep.
So I think he's going to be a player this week as well.
Your guy Cam Smith is 20-1 odds to win the tournament.
Yep.
Some interesting odds. I will go through some of the odds to win the tournament. Brooks Koepka 32-1. I think there's some value there. He's played better last week. It seems like he's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
We know the championship medal he has, won in the majors he's won. Spieth is 15-1. Justin Thomas is 19-1. Rory's like 6.5 to 1. Scheffler's like 6.5 to 1. Schauffele, who's playing really well, he's 22 to 1.
Yeah, always in the mix.
I got a couple shekels on Schauffele to win the tournament. So, but the cool thing about the Masters is you can make bets on all kind of things.
Oh yeah.
Does a guy finish in the top 5? Does he finish in the top 10?
I like those more
than
just the winner.
Does he finish in the top 20?
Yeah.
You know, you can do Spieth versus Justin Thomas, head-to-head matchups, all that. That's the cool thing I like about the Masters. And I'm with you. I watch every shot of this weekend. I keep up with golf, but I'm not watching every Saturday or Sunday.
No.
But for the Masters, for whatever reason,
different.
whether it's on my phone, on my laptop at work, on Sirius XM in the car, I always have Masters radio or watching the Masters coverage. ESPN's got coverage here at 3 o'clock today.
Yep.
I think the afternoon coverage here
Yeah,
today and tomorrow.
It becomes real when I hear Jim Nantz commentating.
Hello, friends.
Hello, friends. That guy has the best gig in the world, by the way. I mean, he calls his final NCAA championship game on Monday, right? And there was the moment, you see the clip with him and his daughter watching the one shining moment.
Yep.
I'm a baby. Those kind of things get me emotional.
That's cool, yeah, that's cool.
But he's been doing it for 30 years, and now he's done with that. But then never fear. I'm going to jump on a plane
Charter
now.
plane, you go straight to Augusta.
To go to Augusta. I mean, does it get any better than Jim Nantz's life right now?
And guess who else I saw is coming back to Augusta this week? Nick Faldo's going to be back in the booth.
Yes.
I don't know if this is a one-off appearance or if this is maybe retired. He's about sick and tired of retirement because remember Nick Faldo left the 18th Tower a couple years ago and kind of retired to Montana, I think, somewhere out that way. Maybe as Nick Faldo want to get back in the mix a little bit, but he is going to be back in the booth this weekend for CBS.
He's great.
He is good.
They add so much to this presentation. They really do. So I'm definitely excited to see that. Excited to sit down here and watch more golf. Continuing watching every Tiger shot.
Pick a winner. Give me a winner.
Pick a winner. Pick a winner.
They haven't had a Monday finish since 1983.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially with the weather issues. Who won that tournament in 83, you know? Very famous guy. Spaniard.
Oh, my. I know. I'm looking at his face right now.
Passed away a few years ago.
Is it?
Seve,
yeah.
Ballesteros.
I don't know why I had Bastra Nevis in my head. I don't know why.
Seve.
Ballesteros, there you go.
A magician around the green. So he was and he had one of the big blow-ups. So in 86 when Nicklaus won, Seve was winning the tournament, and he duck-hooked one into the water, which allowed Nicklaus to make his move. So Seve back in the 80s was the man. Last Monday finish was 1983.
Well, maybe we
40
get that.
years.
Like you said, I mean, it'd be the weather. I don't know if the weather's going to hold up here, unfortunately.
They say Saturday's supposed to be miserably bad as far as tons of rain.
Look at this. This is perfect. A Tiger Woods on 6, a birdie here. What was it, like 10 feet out probably?
Yeah, that's 10 or 12 feet. Yep.
10 or 12 feet for birdie.
Here we go. A little breaker from left to right,
nope.
And he doesn't hit it enough.
Short.
Gonna par
Short
the hole.
and left. Going to par the hole.
Yep.
Not locked in.
CBS is begging for Tiger to at least be in the mix and make the cut.
Oh, it's going to.
Not that they need the ratings anyway, but the ratings will just even be more exquisite if Tiger's at least makes the cut Saturday.
Yeah, I've always wondered how golf would be like when he's officially done.
Right.
Because, I mean, I think there's a lot of great players on tour. I think the game is in as good of a place right now than it's ever been. But nobody has that personality to grab you week in and week out.
Yes.
Nobody dominates like he did in his prime. Nobody's capable, I think, of doing that anymore.
I mean, me and Tiger are pretty close to the same age. I mean, the rock star status that guy had in the late 90s, early 2000s, when he was, no matter if it was a Saturday at the Buick Open, wherever, when that guy was in the mix, man, it was electric television.
Yep.
Even for non-golf fans.
Yep.
Sports fans, it was just so, riveting to see that guy play.
By the way, on your odds there, where'd you have Rory at? I thought he was pretty high up.
Rory's
right?
like the favorite. He's like
really?
Yeah. He, Rahm, and Scheffler are the 3 favorites.
I heard you say it was like 6-1 or something that Rory was.
Yeah.
Who's taking that?
He's playing well.
I know he's playing well, but
a lot of people like
Rory McIlroy is a world-class choker when it comes to majors. When was his last major? Is this 2014? We're still on that.
Yep.
I mean, he was in contention for the Masters last year, and then he had the bunker nightmare, I believe, later. Yep. And then he was with Cam Smith on at the Open over there in St. Andrews.
He was in the mix there, yep.
He played a completely even
Smith
par
played
golf.
well.
Yeah,
Smith won
Smith took it from him.
Smith won it.
Yeah, because he played he played even golf, and he played very safe golf, but Smith, what was he, like 6 under that day?
People remember McIlroy back, 10, 11 years ago when he blew up on Sunday. He was leading the Masters.
Yeah.
And he was, that was his big blow up in Augusta.
I still can't shake it, though. 6-1 odds to Rory McIlroy to win a major.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys where I'm not betting on him until he actually wins it, and then you'll get my trust back.
Yeah, I mean it's not a value bet. I mean, but he's the betting favorite. He and Scheffler.
I'm gonna go with Scheffler to repeat.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go with Scheffler to repeat. Because
he would join some elite company. Nicklaus, Faldo, and I think one other guy is repeated. There's one other guy. it's slipping my mind, but those two guys for sure have repeated. The list is very small of people that have repeated as Masters champions.
Yeah, I think I'll stick with that. I'll go Scheffler, and then my keep an eye out on guy is going to be Cam Young.
And if you ever go to the Masters, you have to go. You have to go to Waffle House.
Waffle House.
That's like the big thing in Augusta. Is everybody goes to Waffle House.
Is the Waffle House at Augusta? Is it a little? Are they?
No, it's just a Waffle House. But that's like the.
Are they hashing my browns any different? Like, what are they doing?
Smothered, covered, however you like it, man. I don't know, but.
I mean, I do enjoy some Waffle House, but.
I've actually been to Augusta. Augusta is a small. It's not a very big city. I mean, it's just a little. It's
just
city
chilling
off,
up there.
It's
like northeast Georgia, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not
just chilling there by itself. This is all it's known for.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. Like I even saw the breakdown, like the commercial flights, the amount of flights they get in throughout the year, and then what they get in this weekend. They said there was 1,500 chartered flights that came in this week.
Sure
this
it's
weekend,
nonstop private planes.
Nonstop at Augusta.
Private planes, man.
I wish they'd find a better system for people to go, though.
Business is good.
I wish they would find. I mean, they don't need to find a better system,
Right.
clearly, but I mean, that's definitely my bucket list.
Would you rather go to a practice round or a tournament round? Because practice round, you get a little more access. You know what they said yesterday? They said you could take pictures during the practice round, but you can't take pictures during the tournament.
Yeah. I would say this. I watched yesterday the par 3 contest, and that looked really fun.
Yeah.
That did look fun. I only have anything to base off. The only golf tournaments I've been to are the ones here in Valspar.
Right.
And a few when I was really younger to watch my aunt play, but I don't really remember them. The Valspar is the ones I watch, and that's a little bit more like the Masters is so buttoned up on everything, whereas I took the Valspar. Like, no, but the Valspar is not the waste management or anything. I'm not comparing it to that. But I was there at the Valspar this year, and I was like, okay, this is a bit frat boyish for me.
Yeah.
It's what it kind of was, and it's a bit loud and everything. I think I would love something like the Masters. It's a little more chill for my taste.
It's amazing, though, just to be near those guys, how much velocity of them hitting the ball, the way they hit the ball as clean as they do. I went to a women's tournament. It's probably been 7 or 8 years ago up in Alabama. I literally was from me to you from the tee where the girls were, where the women were from the driver. Just even the women. And these were middle-of-the-road women LPGA players.
Yeah.
Just the heat they I mean, as fluid as they can hit the golf ball. And it's an impressive just to hear it being in the presence of those guys when they're doing that.
They are better than us.
Man.
They are better than us, and it's not even close.
Athletes, man.
But we'll keep an eye on the Masters, and we'll be back tomorrow to kind of recap a little bit of what we see in round one. We'll take our final break here on a Thursday and just kind of put this.
We got a college Final Four going on here in Tampa.
We do.
Let's talk about that.
We do. We got to get into that. A college final going here. Maybe a few other notes to wrap this baby up here on a Thursday with Nick Geddes and Jason Powers filling in for JP. Stick with us. We'll be back.
Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Hey guys, JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. There is no better place to shop for jewelry than the Gold and Diamond Source. We know that. They are the family jewelers, and they will treat you like family. It's always a fun experience. Just head on over there. You will not find a better selection anywhere in the world. It's a jewelry super center. They've got engagement rings, necklaces, earrings, pendants, chains, and thousands of diamonds to choose from. They're all right there. You don't have to ship anything in. They have jewelry for every price range as well. Guys, if you're looking for some of those baller watches, they have a great selection. They have new and used. You can get some great collectibles there as well. And if you're looking for some more affordable gold and diamond jewelry, you have to check out the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Emily created this collection for people who want to wear and stack elaborate jewelry but don't want to pay the big ticket prices. You got to check this stuff out. The Gold and Diamond Source has plenty of options to accommodate any budget, interest-free financing for up to 5 years, and a layaway program, 20% down and only 6 monthly payments. And this month only, get up to 15% off the March birthstone, which is aquamarine. Like we always say, keep it local, folks. The Gold and Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub, such great philanthropic benefactors. So let's keep it all local here when we have the opportunity, right? It's the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
Welcome back here to the JP Peterson Show here on a Thursday. And we've had a good time here, haven't we, Jason?
We have.
Breaking down Tampa Bay sports. We kept it local. We ventured out a little bit to the Masters there, which I continue to have on, watching Tiger do his thing. He's in the fairway, by the way. There's your Tiger update, as he's on number 6, I believe. So we'll keep an eye on that. But we do have another event actually taking place this week and this weekend here. Starts tonight at Amalie Arena, and that is the Frozen Four, which I know you're very excited about.
Hockey's Final Four. I mean, we had the NCAA Final Four in Houston. Now we got the Hockey Final Four here in Tampa. I think it's the first time since 2016 that it's been back in Amalie Arena. And got 4 great teams. You got Michigan. You got Minnesota, 2 from the Big Ten. You got Boston University, which is, those of you that from the Northeast, the Beanpot and all that, BU. And then we got Quinnipiac. Where's Quinnipiac? You know where Quinnipiac is?
Oh, is it in Pennsylvania?
I think it's Connecticut.
Connecticut?
I think Quinnipiac is in Connecticut.
Type that in.
It's a very small school, but a very good hockey program.
Yeah. Hamden, Connecticut.
Very good hockey program. They actually lost in 2016 in the finals here.
I do remember that.
To North Dakota. So they were in the finals last year, or in 2016. And lost, and they are back tonight. And at 5 o'clock, the first semifinal starts. Minnesota BU at 5, followed by Michigan Quinnipiac.
I tell you what, my college hockey knowledge, I guess, is short, but I do know.
I don't watch a lot of college hockey, but it's a good event.
But it's a good event, and I see the highlights all over because I follow like the prospects and stuff like that. When you see these guys coming from college into the NHL, and I believe we got a couple Lightning players.
2 Lightning draftees are in these on this tournament. You got Connor Kurth from Minnesota, and you got Dylan Duke from Michigan.
Yep. I do know though the Michigan. You just said Michigan plays BU.
Yep.
At least the
Michigan plays Quinnipiac.
Or Quinnipiac, but I do know is it Minnesota, right?
Minnesota BU.
Minnesota BU is a huge rivalry.
Okay.
I do know that because if you recall from the movie Miracle, that was the whole thing. Was that whole team was all Minnesota and BU guys.
Right.
And they hated each other. And they went and won a gold medal. So I do know, my limited knowledge knows that is a big rivalry.
And I've been out driving around the last couple of nights, and I've seen a lot. You see a lot of people are in town. So these people will travel well, especially people from the Midwest. Beautiful weekend, Easter weekend. They'll be sold out here. ESPN2 tonight, I believe. You'll probably have, I would guess, John Buchagras would probably be on the call, I would guess.
Yeah, or Steve Levy or someone like that.
And Barry Melrose will probably be involved. So you will see some familiar faces on the call here for the Final Four.
And I will say, too, the price of admission to me is to see Michigan play. It seems like that program spits out so many NHL draft prospects and first rounders. And I do know this name. I do know this name, folks. If you go out there to see Michigan play, because they're still they're still available. Know the name Adam Fantilli. Put it in your mind, because this guy's going to be the second overall pick in this draft behind Connor Bedard, who is an absolute unicorn. But this guy's going to be the second overall pick. Another Hughes. We already have 3 Hughes in the league. This is the 4th. Luke Hughes is on Michigan as well. What a family that is. So I do know this Michigan team. I usually see them pop up on Twitter a lot because they score a lot of big highlight goals. So I think that's the draw this weekend, is to see Michigan play.
And it's a good event for the city of Tampa. A lot of tourism. You get a lot of people from the Midwest coming down Easter weekend. So it'll be a very active downtown area, hotels, restaurants, things like that. So if you're a hockey fan, and you could probably get tickets probably pretty reasonably priced.
I saw about $50 get in.
I mean, for two.
And there's
for
not
a
bad seat up, by the way,
for a Final Four event, I'd definitely be an event with as much as hockey is growing down here with the youth and the club. There's more. I mean, I know kids playing high school hockey here at the high schools here.
Oh, the high school level. I had a friend who played high school hockey for. We went to Durant, but we didn't have a team.
Right.
So he played it for Bloomingdale.
Right.
They allowed him. They kind of combined, and I would go to the Brandon thing. We'd go every Friday night, and it was really fun.
Yeah.
And there was a team, Mitchell High School in Pasco County.
Yep.
They have a player who was on those teams, and I remember we would watch him and go, okay, that guy's better than everybody. Well, guess what? He plays for the Arizona Coyotes now. His name escapes me, but I know he plays for the Coyotes now, and he came out of this area. So hockey's booming in all levels, actually, in Tampa Bay.
Austin Matthews was a kid from Arizona, I believe.
Yep.
So a non-hockey-centric area that's where he kind of grew up. So hockey in this area, whether it's 85 degrees out, there's still plenty of people playing. There's a big arena out in Wesley Chapel that they play at, that a lot of the club teams play at. And Brandon, there's an area. So hockey is a booming sport, and more and more of these college teams. It'll be interesting to see how fast hockey migrates from a collegiate sport maybe down south. Does it ever get into the SEC or the ACC as a full-blown sport?
Yep. We will see, but that's going to be a fun event. We're going to go home. We're going to go watch the Masters. That's what we're doing today. I got an off day today. Nobody bother me, please. I know what I'm going to be doing today all day. So that's going to be fun. Thank you, Jason, so much for joining us and filling in for JP. A big thanks to TJ Reeves. We'll get that interview up later today. He was on one today. He was absolutely awesome. Reminder, we'll be back here tomorrow on Friday. Doug Wechter, he was supposed to join us today. He had to reschedule. He's going to be with us tomorrow at 10:30. to talk about your Rays baseball, Bally Sports. That is Doug Wechter. So,
I wonder if Doug's getting his paycheck. Are they paying their bills yet?
At
Bally's.
I'll ask him, but I don't know if he's going to answer, though. I don't know if he's going to answer, but I might have to ask him. But until then, we will see you. Enjoy your Masters Thursday. Enjoy the Lightning tonight against the Islanders, and we will see you tomorrow.